Guys, and welcome to the second tutorial of the GValue. At this point we are learning about some macros and functions. It is time to move on, and the next thing which we are going to do, we are going to work with GValue type. So basically with this one right here, let's see what this one does. GValue type, it is right here, okay, which is fine. It says get the type identifier of the value, so it is returning a G type. In other words, because we are creating a G-type string, we can get it. Let's say that we have no idea what exactly of the type that string it is, and we need to find out, and we need to get this value. So for this, we are going to say G-type. We are going to talk about the G-type later, but we are going to get it right now. So now we need to pass, of course, its address. You always need to pass the address of these values when you are working with GValue. And now, because we have the value, we have the type of the value, we should do something. I'm going to create a function for you guys, which is called like this, and we're going to pass the value. And because I'm creating the value, I don't need to pass its address, and I'm going to pass its type. So basically I'm going to create a function for you. You will see in a second what kind of function, which has a value and a type. One thing which I forgot a thing which is very important, and which is the GValue unset. So we have to call this one, because once that is set, you create a value, you need to unset it when you are done with it. Something like when you work with let's say with gmalloc, and then you call gfree, something like this. It is just a convenience function for when you are done with the value. So clears the current value in the value, if any, of course, and unsets the type. This release all resources associated with this GValue. An unset value is the same as an uninitialized zero filler GValue. So basically, just that you understand, I'm going to call this function, which means I'm going to call it right here at the end, where we are going to pass, of course, its address again. Just so that you understand, once that you call this function, it's basically at this point your GValue, it will become something like this, where it's nothing, so which means it's dead. That, so that you understand, this does this function. It's not the value is not initialized anymore. Okay, now let us create the function, whatever, which name you give it, because this is very important for you to understand what I'm trying to do here. So void home, and I'm going to say GValue value and G type. This is what we are going to create. We are going to create a function which expects a value and a type. Why, you will see. Now, first thing first, G return if fail. This is the first thing which we are going to do. G is value, so it should not work if our value it's not a value. And of course, G return if fail, if again our G type is value right here, and the type. So if we have no type or we have no value, then we don't need to work with this function if one of them fails. At this point, what do we know? We are going to say G print whatever, and I'm going to say inside full, just like this, nothing special. Okay, now we can work with it. So the first thing first, which we are going to use, I'm going back to where was GValue holds right here, because we saw what the GValue is now. Right here, we are going to say now if GValue holds, and of course here we are going to check if holds the value and the type, because this is very important for us. So value, the same check like we did before. Now we are checking if the value holds the type. That's very important for us to understand it. And now, guys, I'm going to introduce you to a new function, and the new function, it is called GValue type name, right here. And let us see what exactly does this macro function GValue type name. It says gets the name of the value, which is very important for us to know. So I'm going to say g, or not const, gchar const get name, and of course we need to pass the value. Now, because we have it, I'm going to say gprint the name of the type is %s, and of course get name. So what we are doing now right here, let's see, let us check this function. We are calling this function where we are passing a value and a type. Now, with the help of the GValue holds, we are checking the value that has indeed this type. Because this type, we have it, we don't know which type is, because we already said here we are getting the type. Let's say for a second that we have no idea what type it is. We know because we declared out, but let's say we don't know because we don't care. We can get the type name. So basically, after we call the GValue type name and we set it to a pointer, now when we are printing it, we are going to get its actual type name. And here I made a mistake because again I forgot to pass its address of the value, and now we have another problem because it cannot be converted to a pointer, which means again I forgot its address, and now everything should be fine, and we'll see that the name of the type is a gchar. Yes, you see, now we found the type, which is a gchar, which means a match with a G type string. Now the next thing which we are going to do, I'm going to introduce you to a new two functions, which are called GValue pick pointer and G stringed up value contents. Let's see what exactly does one and other one. So the G stringed up value contents, I think you already understand from this name. It says return a newly allocated string which describes the contents of a G value. So basically what do we understand here? We found out the type, we know the type, we know what kind of type has the value, we know about the value, and now we can find out information about the value itself. I mean, what exactly stores that value. So the main purpose of this function is to describe the GValue content for debugging output. So the way in which the content are described may change between different glyph versions. In other words, it's not quite 100% sure that is a good thing for you to work with this one, but I'm going to show you because the next function it will be much more clear for you than this one. So I'm going to say gchar at this point get value content, because this is the name of the function, value content, yes. And of course we are going to pass in the value with its address, of course. And now because we have it, now let me show you something. gprint, and I'm going to say now the value content is %s, and of course the get value content. Now watch, what do you think it will print, the get value content? Yes, of course, it should print the thing which we are setting here, and the thing which we are setting here is the thing which we are creating here. So basically we just found out the value, the content of the value, so it should print exit. Yes, you see, now we have the name of the type, which is a gchar, right? And we have the value content, which is exit, which is good. We are inside the foo, you see. Now, as the documentation said, in which content terms, you see, may change between different glyph versions. And now we can see what's the story with another one, which is called GValue pick pointer. it says return the value content as a pointer. So this function assesses the GValue fits pointer as well, and we are going to see about this in another video at some point somehow. Return true. So for the passed in value, this is an internal function mainly for C marker. So what exactly does this one? Let us check it. So I'm going to call it right here, and for this I'm going to declare again const gchar const, and I'm going to say get pick pointer, whatever. And here we are going to pass again the value. And now I'm going to copy this one, this call, and I'm going to say the value pick wherever is, which value it is. You already know. Yes, because we need to pass the pick pointer here, and you will see it is the same value. Yes, you see. So now with the help of those two functions, we are basically getting the content of the value which we are setting it for our label property, and as you can see the value of the content is exit and the value pick is exit. So basically we got now that value, so we know which kind of value it is, and we know, and we can check it if you want to against something to be sure that the value is still the value, or if maybe was changed from the user itself or maybe from the program. One thing which I forgot, of course, the GValue content, as you can see, it was pointed to a G stringed up value content. This function doesn't say something about, or maybe it said, but I wasn't paying attention. Now it doesn't say, but you already know the stringed up means you need to free it. So basically, after you're done with it, just be sure to G free your get value content, because if you don't do it, then you will face a memory leak, and we are not going to do something like this. One thing which you need to remember, it is much easier for you guys in GTK, and I think this follows the whole glib system, glib system. I'm not sure. I'm going to search a little bit much deeper, but if I am right, every function which glibs has it, even if it's about parameter value, GValue, GTypes, or glib itself, which returns a gchar, this means for you guys that you need to free it. If the function doesn't return a gchar, but instead it returns a constant gchar, we don't have here. Let me see here. Maybe I found something. Gchar, no. If I found something here, no, I don't. Anyway, in other words, const gchar, wherever, gchar means it is okay, you don't need to call free, but functions which are returning gchar, you need to call all the time gfree. Remember, this is I think this works, or better said, this thing apply in the whole glib system, and I don't believe that I saw a function which doesn't follow this rule. So basically all the time when you work with a function which returns a gchar, you need to call gfree on the pointer which you are setting it in the front of this function. If you see it as a constant gchar, you are fine. You never free a constant pointer. That being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.